What is up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy flippinstoop. Please forgive me. I'm still in my gym clothes. They're a little sweaty. What a reseller's freaking nightmare today it was. So I told you guys a while back I asked for prayers for my father-in-law. He was in the hospital with pneumonia. And it wasn't looking good, but he pulled through and he is home. So the past 2 nights, we went over there. My fiance has been there consistently for 2 nights, and then I'd work, and then I'd go over there after I was done working. And here in Michigan, if anybody lives in Michigan and you experience, hopefully not what I experienced today. We live in Michigan. I work in my basement. In my basement, in Michigan, basements tend to flood. And we had a huge storm. We've had a lot of rain lately. And I've had it already once this year where there's a little bit of water in the basement. But we came home today. Everything was going good. And for some reason, we ran the washer. I don't know if there's a pipe down there, if it had to do with all the water or what. But anyways, there was a huge flood. And so I was shop vacuuming out gallons and gallons and gallons of water for a couple hours. That is my nightmare. Why? Because all my inventory's down there. 6,000 some odd items, right, are down there. Granted, the majority of them are up on a platform. I strongly encourage anybody, if you have a Michigan basement or in a different state where you get a lot of water in your basement or you get some water in your basement at times. I mean, we don't get a foot of water down there, but I did have about an inch or two today. So I get the little shelves that you can buy at Walmart or whatever. When I first started reselling, I was using them to put my items on because I was selling everything. And then I started selling clothing and I was just stacking box on top of box with custom SKUs, so on and so forth. But I put them under the first box. That way they're up off the ground. But as I said, I've been outgrowing my workspace. So a couple of the boxes did get wet. No, it didn't damage any goods because they are all sealed tight in poly bags. But it was a pain in the ass, right? So that was the nightmare. But the topic I want to talk about today is what do we actually want to get out of reselling, right? Of course, we all want to get sales, right? That's pretty, that's a pretty common thing we want to get out of reselling. Now, each reseller is different. Some want to go full-time, some want to stay part-time, some want to do it as a hobby, blah, 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 right? So, what do you really, I've been asking I was watching Chris from Daily Refinement today, and it made me think of that. What do you actually really want to get out of reselling? Like specifics. Because if you don't know the specifics, you're not going to get there, right? If I don't know that I want to get to 60 sales a day consistently, and that I can pay my bills and have extra money to do whatever we choose to do, right? Then I will never get there, right? So what I think is really important, I asked myself the same question today when I was listening to him. I'm like, damn, I don't think I know. I don't think I know exactly what I want to get out of eBay, right? I had a vision at one time of building a pole barn and having a balcony up top with maybe an office or 2 up there. And then employees and I working, having a listing station, having an inventory area, things of that. That was my vision, right? Like a 30 by 60 pole barn and, inventory coming in, getting sorted through, so on and so forth. That was my vision. But I never really sat down and thought about what is my exact number I want to sell every day. What is your exact number that you want to sell every day? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 30? Is it 45? Is it 105? Is it 300? Right? All those numbers are feasible. I'm not saying you're going to do 300 items a day by yourself. I'm not saying that's impossible neither. Maybe it is possible. Maybe somebody can do it. But at my level right now, I can't do 300 items a day. One, I don't have the inventory. And number 2, I don't have the space. Right? I don't have the space to be putting 300 items in my inventory every single day. There's just not enough room for me to be able to do that. So I asked myself what would be a good number for me. And I guess my first goal I'd like to get to is actually selling 50 items every single day. That means I got to list them. I got to have that much inventory. So that's going to take time, right? So you write your goal down. We write our goal down, whatever your goal might be. I don't care if it's 2. I don't care if it's 200. A greater number don't always mean greater. I'm telling you this right now. in reselling. What that entails is a lot more work you have to do. So if you want to pick two, that's cool. But I strongly suggest you pick a number you want to consistently sell every day. You got to pick the number, and then you can work backwards from that, right? I want to make 6 figures a year. Okay, then what do? Well, your first step would probably be to take $100,000 and divide that by 365 days. And it's going to give you somewhere around the 278 or is it 98? It's one of them two, right? I think it's $278 and some change. Maybe it's 76. I'm probably a little off, so correct me in the comments below which one it is. So that's your first step, is to know how much money I have to make per day to get to the 6-figure area, right? And then you can break that down even further. Okay, how many then, if I'm doing that, well, what's my average sales price got to be? And how many items am I going to have to list? Because everybody's average sale price is going to be different depending on the location you're in. If you're in a location like me, it's going to be tough for you to find $30 finds every day. $30 profitable items is going to be very difficult in my area to find. Very difficult. And I don't care what you're selling. I don't care what you're selling, because if you want to do the 200, unless you're selling one item a day, and that item's a $300 item, right? And then you could sell one item a day and make $100,000 a year. If you could find items that were actually that desirable and you could sell it for $300 a day, or $300 per item. You could do that. There are store models out there like that, and that works. But 99% of their effort is in the hunt for that one item that's actually going to sell for that much money. You got to think about it. How long would it take you to list one item? Not even an hour. It better not take you an hour to list an item. Maybe in the beginning it will, but once you get to cranking, an item, I guess it depends on what it was. If this was an everything store and I didn't know how to do it, it could take you up to an hour to do all the research on it, figure out the item specifics, do your photography, do your prep work. Yeah, it could definitely take you up to an hour. But an hour a day to make 6 figures a year? Sign me up. But the other 10 hours of the day, you're going to be hunting marketplace, places like Craigslist, garage sales, thrift store, wherever else you would be sourcing your items, you're going to be looking at. So you can do that model. I don't like to hunt that much. I do like to hunt, but I don't like to hunt that much. But you can look at that 2 different ways. You can sit on your couch and shop for items 10 hours a day. So if you like sitting on your couch for 10 hours a day, that just might be the motto for you, right? You never know. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good topic to touch on, is what do you really want to get out of eBay, right? I'm not talking about, it's good to start with the dollar amount, right? Well, what would be nice for you every month, every year? Would it be $1,000 extra a month? Would it be $10,000 extra dollars a month? We got to figure out what number we actually want to hit and then work backwards from that. That's how goals are started, right? You write a goal. I would like to sell $30,000 a year on eBay, right? My first year. So you got the number. Now you work backwards. You make a whole bunch of little steps on how you're going to achieve that. That's how goal setting is done. It's going to take you time. It's going to take you patience. You're going to be upset on days. You're going to have great days. You're going to have bad days. But if you don't know what you're shooting for, I don't think you're ever going to really feel that great about yourself, right? Because you got to hit little goals in order to actually feel good about yourself, right? I set goals in the gym, right? I set goals, what I want my physique to look like. I don't just want to be a monster immediately. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I would like to be at my biggest in a couple years, in the most lean I could be. But what I first had to do, this first 6 months I'm doing, right? I've been in the gym maybe 5 months now. The first 6 months, what I'm doing is building my physique back. I'm building a foundation. I'm using light to moderate weight, high reps, trying to build the muscle structure, right? Because you can't, it's cool if you want to try to do this, but it's not really going to work. You can't just go from skinny, shriveled up, and out of shape to looking like Mr. O in 90 days. Okay, that shit's not going to work for you. You got to break it down step by step. Okay, first, I got to build my shoulders up, right? I got to actually form the muscle so you can actually see the muscle. Because if you don't have the muscle yet, you're not going to look like Mr. O in 90 days, right? Regardless what you look like, you're not going to look like Mr. O in 90 days. But you got to have an idea of what you want to look like. So I wanted my physique to look like, I want it like chiseled, where you can see the muscles, every muscle in the body. Then I can increase my calories and gain more size, right? You see how that works? You can't just, I just want to get huge real fast. I mean, you can try that, but you're going to get real fat in the process, right? You go from eating 1,500 calories a day, 2,000 calories a day, to all of a sudden jumping up to 5,000, 6,000 calories a day, and you're doing an hour a day in the gym. You might start getting kind of jacked looking, but you're also going to have a fat belly. How do I know that? I've done that. I had a big rounded belly. I was jacked. I felt jacked, right? But I had a big rounded belly. So I'm going at it in a different manner this way. I have a plan. Now, once my physique looks exactly the chiseled look I want it to look, then I'll slowly start increasing. This is a lot like eBay. I'll slowly start increasing my calories. Just like you would, if you want to scale, slowly start increasing your sales once you hit your goal. I'm going to list 5 items every day. Now, once you get 5 sales every single day, then it's time to slowly scale. Make sense? Right? Same thing with lifting. Once I hit the physique I'm looking for, right? The one I can see mentally in my head, where when I take off my shirt, I look like a little action figure. Not a huge action figure, but a little action figure, right? Just like a little one, right? 185, 190 pound action figure. Then once I hit that goal, again, I'll start slowly increasing my calories. I'll start adding one more small meal a day. That might only be 200 calories more, not 2,000 calories more, because your body won't know how to handle all that, and it'll just store it as fat, right? A lot of bodybuilders do that in the off season. You'll see them in the off season, they got a big old fat rounded belly, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's what they do. They bulk up and then they chop it down, right? They chop it all down. If that's the way you want to do it. But I don't want to do it this way. I want to get a really good foundation, just like eBay. Start out with a really good foundation. And then once you start getting them consistent sales, then start scaling. Then start changing your regimen or your daily routine. Don't do that, though, until you hit your initial goal, your first goal. I want to sell 1 item a day. That should be everybody's goal in the beginning. If you're this is your first time reselling, you thought about it, you haven't listed an item yet, your goal should be, I'm going to do 1 item a day until I sell 1 item a day. And then when that happens, go to 2 to 3, right? I fucked up numerous times going from 20 items a day to all of a sudden 40 items a day. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I didn't have enough inventory. Why? Because I wasn't selling enough items yet, and I ran out of inventory, and I couldn't keep up on them 40 items a day. I also did that with the number 35. I also done that with the number 30, right? I'm stubborn. I learned slow. I admit that. So I messed up a few different times chasing after because I wanted to rush and get there faster. It's not the way it works. Pick a number, start going after it, just like I talked about the physique. Get your physique, get your store to where it's getting consistent attention, daily sales, then add a couple more calories every day. Then add a couple more items every day. It's a lot like weight training. It's a lot like any goal you want to do. If you are $10,000 in debt, credit card debt, you're not just going to save up enough money and just go pay that $10,000 off when you got your bills and everything. You're going to take like 5% out of every paycheck and you're going to start paying your debt off. And before you know it, your debt will be down so low, you made progress, right? Progress is slow intervals. It's not, hey, you know what? I've listed 30 items before, so I can list 30 items every day, but I'm only getting 6 sales a day, so I'm going to list 30 items. That's stupid. Don't do that. I did that. I literally did that exact same thing I just said. I did that, and I failed. Okay? I ran out of inventory. It became too hectic for me. All kinds of shit, right? So don't do that. I love the gym analogy because it's a lot like, say if you're... I see where people do this wrong a lot in the gym, okay? They're overweight, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people, well, actually, there's a lot wrong with that. You should just take care of it and take small intervals to drop some weight, right? And the way you do that is zero down your target. Okay, say you're 300 pounds, you're 150 pounds overweight, we'll say, right? Just say that. Okay, so instead of going right to the weights, I see so many men do this, okay? I see a lot of men do this. I don't see a lot of women do this, but I do see a lot of men. They'll go right to the weights and start lifting weights. I'm like, This is my opinion. I may be wrong. I'm not a personal trainer, but logic thinking, I'm like, shouldn't you get on that treadmill and drop your weight before you start lifting weight? I'm not telling you not to gradually lift weights, but your main focus should be getting on that treadmill and burning fat on a daily basis, right? That will get the weight off you. And then once you get that weight off you, then start building your muscle physiques or your muscle, the physique you're going after, right? Whatever it is. But first you got to burn that excess fat, or you're just going to be a strong fat guy, right? I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong? And that's not me criticizing anybody that's overweight. That's just being honest. The same goes for your store. Like a lot of this relates. Like you're 300 pounds, you want to get down to 150. You got a lot of cardio to do before you should even touch a weight. If you've never lifted a weight before in your entire life, it's your first time going in the gym, you shouldn't touch a weight. My opinion. You should do calisthenics to get your muscles prepped for what's going to come when you do start touching weights, right? Push-ups, body squats, pull-ups, crunches, assisted pull-ups, because a lot of people can't do pull-up right off the bat, right? So that type of stuff. And then once you start feeling strong there, and you can do 20 push-ups, and you can do 5 sets of 20 squats, and you can do 10 pull-ups, 20 push-ups, right? Once you can start doing these, you have no problem knocking out 100 crunches, then start adding weight. People always want to go right to the weight, right? That's not the way to do it. That's not the healthy way to do it. You'll make more progress if you did calisthenics. Same thing with reselling. People want to get me. I'm the guilty one. Hurry up and get to 30 items in sales a day. Then I can live comfortably. That's just not the way it's going to work for anybody. You're actually going to put more anxiety, more stress on you. I think you're going to do worse if you go that way, right? I think I added a lot more stress on me throughout my reselling of 5 years than I actually needed to. This is just me talking about my experience. If that's what you chose to do and you're making it happen, that's great for you. There are some people out there that can make some obsessions to that and actually have it work out, right? I wanted to rush and get to the 6 figures right now. I don't encourage that, right? That's a whole lot more responsible. First of all, when I first started selling women's clothing, I didn't know anything about them, right? I didn't even know how to measure an inseam. I didn't even know how to measure women's tops, women's bottoms. I didn't understand women's clothing whatsoever. And I want to list 30 items a day? Don't you think I did that backwards? Don't you think I should probably be gaining some more knowledge on women's clothing and start out slowly and gradually grow? Nobody goes into the gym today 150 pounds overweight, and in 90 days, they're right down to the 150 pounds they want to be. I mean, they will have a very successful YouTube channel if they actually make that happen, right? A very successful YouTube channel. So you're not going to do that in reselling. You're not going to go, you hear the big dogs, Tech and Sports, right? You hear how many items he's selling. This is me, guys. This is the way I thought. I'm like, man, I'm going to catch them, right? So you hear about Tech and Sports. You hear me talk about Chris from Daily Refinement, 300 items a day. You know, and then I get the ego. My ego went off in my head and be like, man, if he can do it, I know I can do it, right? So that's what I was trying to do. It don't work out that way. It's not going to work that way for you. Because I, myself, tried rushing that. You can't rush the process. I said it in many of my videos in the past, the snail wins the race. That is true all the time. The snail is going to beat the rabbit. The rabbit's going to burn out, man. When you run a marathon, give it an example. If you're running a marathon, you're doing a 10K marathon or whatever it is. Just say you're doing a 100-mile marathon, okay? Do you think the rabbit's going to win? No fucking way. The rabbit's going to burn out 15 miles in, 20 miles in. It's going to be over if it makes it that far. It's going to be over. So if you're given, I'm not telling you to be lazy when you first start, right? I'm not telling you that whatsoever. If maybe you have a little bit more energy like I do than some other people, whatever, right? And I'm sure I'm not the most energetic person. I'm sure there's more people out there that are more energetic than me. I just so happen to have a shit ton of fucking energy, and it drives me nuts to sit around and do nothing. So I always got to be doing something. If not, I feel guilty. It's crazy. I hate it. It's actually a curse, but it's also a blessing. So instead of being that freaking rabbit, be the snail. Here, the snail learns more. The snail learns more throughout the process. If you're rushing every second of the day, you guys have done this. I've hindered our relationship. I've made it tough for my fiance. I love my fiance. She stuck it through, and I love her so much. But I could see it. It was pulling a toll. If you're rushing in everything you're doing throughout your day for eBay, you are going to ruin a lot of things around you. You are not going to be a fun person to be around. I've done that myself. I admit that 1,000% I've done that, right? And I'm not happy about that. Okay? So start slow. When you start slow, you learn more. List slow. You hear people, list as fast as you can, blah, 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 right? That's not good in the beginning. List slow. Because if you're listing slow, your conscience, your mind, right, operates much better at a slow level. If you got 50 billion things going through your head at one time, I'll give you an example of that. Like a fighter in the ring, the one that's the most calm can think the most clearly, which will 99% of the time win the fight. You just go in there like, oh, and you go crazy and shit like that, and you black out and you're fighting. To a skilled fighter that is calm, you're going to get your ass handed to you. You're going to get tapped out. You're going to get knocked out. They're going to smoke you really fast. So the slow game on eBay, you actually absorb more, and you learn more, and you'll grow more. You go in there 1,000% like I did, you're going to make a lot of boo-boos, man. I made a lot of boo-boos along the way. I probably could have avoided if I just took a little more calm approach, right? My fiance might still be listing with me if I was a little more calm in the beginning when she was working with me, right? I kind of pushed her out that way. Don't do that, right? Don't do her. She actually enjoyed reselling plush, and she don't even do it anymore. It's the slow. I'm telling you, it's the snail that wins the race in this. Everybody wants to be. At least me. I'll talk about me. I want to be where Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement is. You guys, they started 15 years ago, or Tech and Sports 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was, right? Daily Refinement about 10 years ago, whatever it's been, right? Since 2017. He's been doing this shit a long time. We're not there yet. That's a good. No, well, Corey, I don't want to confuse people. Corey. For the people that's on the YouTube channel, Corey asked a question, said, so I should list the daily amount that I'm selling. If you have been consistently selling 8 or 10, then scale. But if you're not consistently hitting that number every day, then wait for eBay to catch up with you. Like, for example, okay, today is my first day of reselling. I'm going to list 5 items today, right? If you got enough inventory, whatever, do it, right? Learn it, whatever, right? But, okay, so I'm going to do 5. I'm just giving an example. So I'm going to do 5 items today is my first day. I'm not going to list 6 items a day until I consistently get 5 items. I messed up there, and I was always trying to get ahead faster than eBay caught up with me. It's not good to do that. You have to gain eBay's trust. They got to see that you can actually replenish those 5 items. They have to see that you can actually handle the customer service with those 5 items. And they have to see that you can actually deliver those packages on time from them 5 items. And once they consistently see you do that enough, this might take you 90 days to be able to do. It shouldn't, not for 5 items. At least 60 days, though. It might take you 60 days to do. But then when you consistently are selling those 5 items every single day, not 5 items one day, 1 item the next day, that's still eBay trying to figure you out, or you were inconsistent somewhere. Once you consistently get 5 items, 5 sales a day, then I encourage you to throw a couple more in. And then once you get those, so you throw a couple more on top of 5, you got 7 items all of a sudden you're doing a day. Once eBay's consistently giving you those 7 sales a day, then you have to 8 or 9 or 10. And don't increase that number until you're selling that amount of items. That is actually the way eBay wants you to build, because you're building trust up with them that you can handle more, right? For example, if I go to my 9 to 5 and I'm working in a factory and there's a production line and my quota is 100 a day, right? Whatever items I'm making or packaging or whatever I'm doing, right? And I keep getting 90 and 92 and 90 and 92 and 88 and say, hey boss, man, can you throw 120 my way? They're going to be like, what the fuck? You can't even hit 100 yet. You get what I'm saying? You can't even hit 100 yet. Why would I give you another 20 on top of that 100? You're steady at 88 and 92, 88 and 92, 88 and 92. So they're not going to give me more production if I can't get done what that company suggestion is. They want me to get 100 done. So I'm getting 88, I'm getting 92, I'm getting 88, I'm getting 92. So I go to my boss and be like, man, I think I can do 120. But yet my quota is 100 and I can't even match that yet. That's exactly what you're showing eBay. That analogy is exactly what you're showing eBay, right? So if you can't keep listing 5 items a day, keep listing 5 items a day, keep listing 5 items a day, and then one day all of a sudden you jump up to 15 items a day every single day, they're like, what the fuck? Right? Like you're doing 5 items, three days straight, and then all of a sudden you're doing 2 items 3 days straight. And then all of a sudden you're doing 5 items 2 days in a row, and then all of a sudden you're doing 3 items 4 days in a row. And then all of a sudden you jump up to 15, eBay is going to be like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, you couldn't even say consistent at number 5. And now you want to jump up to 15? You blow them the fuck away. They don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, they're thinking logically, like, this dude can't handle, or girl, can't handle doing 5 items every day consistently. Now all of a sudden he or she wants to jump up to 15. What the fuck is wrong with this person? That's probably what they're thinking. I would, if I'm running a company like the one I was just talking about, and the quota, Corey, I want you to reach is 50 a night. And you're struggling doing 38 big, huge parts, whatever it could be, right? You're getting around 38, 40 of them. And all of a sudden you come up to me one night and say, hey, Justin, man, I would really like it if you could bump me up to 75. I'd be like, what, dude? I mean, imagine if you were the owner of that company, Corey, and I was only popping out 38, and I said, hey, dude, I think I could do 60. Would you jump me up to 60? You'd be like, yeah, when you can get to 50, like I want you to do. When you can consistently get to 50 every day, then I will increase. Because why would an employer want to put more stress on you than you can handle? And if you're going from 5 items to 15 items, and you haven't even been consistent at 5 items, you are putting too much on your fucking plate. That's what eBay's looking at it like. They can't handle doing 5 items every day. We know damn well they're not going to be able to handle doing 15 items every day. Now, there are some, like I said, there are some people that has done that and has proved that to be, but if you're trying to scale and you're trying to use the money you're getting from your sales to buy more inventory, you're selling 5 items a day, and now you go up to 15. Are 5 items a day going to be able to get you 15 items every single day? I guess it depends on where you thrift at, but I don't think financially that's the smartest thing to do, right? Because you're gonna, what do you is it even going to be feasible if you're going, you're selling 5 items a day? I don't know what you'd be selling them at, whatever, right? But then you're going to try, all of a sudden you're trying to jump right up to 15. Shouldn't you gradually build that up, right? Like I'm telling you my mistakes, what I've did wrong throughout my reselling. Jump right in to be turtle. I wanted to jump right in and be the rabbit. The rabbit's going to fucking burn out, man. You're going to burn out. You're going to run out of inventory. Your profit margins aren't big enough to grow that fast. You see companies like that are doing $1 million in sales in a year. The next day the next year they're doing 1.3. They're not going from 1 to 2.8. They're going from 1 to 2. 1.2, 1.5, 1.8. If you pay attention to their numbers and watch how their numbers grow, they're growing in small margins, but consistent margins, right? If I go back to the first day I ever resold, I sold my first item. And then I talked to my fiance and I said, well, if we can sell 1, we can sell 2, right? Yeah. And that's the way we went. I said, if we can sell 2, we can sell 4, right? We've got to our first $1,000 in a month. I says, well, if we can get to $1,000, babe, we can get to 2. That might not have happened the next month. That might have been month 3 that we got to 2, right? And I said, if we get to 2, we can get to 4. But that didn't happen the month after month 3. That didn't happen month 4. That might have happened month 6 or month 7. Right? That slow growth. That's when I was doing eBay Smart, is when I was slowly scaling and working towards something. If you're working towards something, you will scale. If you have something you can look at. Okay, today I'm hitting $10,500 a month. Just going to write that down, right? I'm hitting 10.5 a month. I want to get to 15, so do you think my next goal should be 15K? That might take an entire year for me to gain them margins. That might take me an entire 8 months to a year to gain that additional 5K on top. It could, right? Depending on how much you're listing, what your average sale price is. So wouldn't you be like, okay, if I'm at 10.5, I want to get to 11? Right? That's a goal. It's $500 more this month that I made last month. That's a feasible goal. You could probably obtain that. You're not going to obtain 15. You're not going to obtain another $4,500 the next month. That's stretching way too hard. I'm not telling you to set your goals small neither. You want to make $100,000 in a month, $50,000 in a month. That's great. But remember, you got to have a bunch of those little goals after that to how you're going to get to that, right? You're at 10.5. You want to get to 50. I think $500 a month increases is an awesome fucking margin. You're making $500 more each additional month. I don't know exactly. I'm not the greatest at math. I'd have to do that on my phone or whatever to figure out how much percentage that is every month. But that's great. Just an extra $500 or even an extra $100 a month. That is still, your little green arrow is still going to be pointing up. An extra 50. That is growth regardless. Right? You see these companies like Nike, they didn't scale to be $1 billion company in fucking 2 years. They grew slow. And then over the course of 50, 60 years, now they're a fucking empire, right? That's how it happens. And your eBay ain't going to be no different. If you get to $10,000 in sales in a month, you should be proud of yourself. If you get to $5,000 in sales in a month, you get to $1,000 in sales, you should be proud of yourself. But the only way you're going to scale from them numbers is by saying that. Hey, and writing that down in front of you. Okay, I hit 1K. I hit 1K this month. My next goal is 2. Okay? That's exactly how I got to 13,000 was my highest month. This is exactly how I did it, though. So I had it on a whiteboard that, okay, I'm at 1K. I just want to get to 2K. That might not have happened that next month. Like I said, that might have happened month 3, month 4. But I got there. And then when I got to 2, I went to 4. I always doubled it. And when I got to 4, I went to 8. Right? And that's exactly, but it might, from 4K a month to 8K a month, might have took me 8 months to get there, guys. It might have took me 10 months. I don't remember the exact time, right? I should have wrote that down. My next goal is the 20K a month. But first of all, I got to get to 15, right? So I got to break that 20K down a month to get to 15. Okay, what am I going to have to do to get from 13, or actually we're only at around the high 11, low 12 right now. So how am I going to do that? Well, first of all, I got to get from, we'll just say 12, right? I got to get from 12 to 13. Okay, so what I'm doing today is getting me to 12. How the hell am I going to get to 13? Well, I'm just going to add 2 more items a day. Something small. 2 more items a day. That's going to get you closer to the 13 than listing the same amount of items, right? Do you see what I'm saying? You see the analogy I'm saying? The slow growth wins, man. It's the slow growth. You got to know, if you're going to be a reseller, don't look at each week improvement. Look at, hey, what did I do last year? Okay, I did $62,000 last year. This year, $109,000. I made progress. But you have to have something consistently to be working towards. And Chris really brought that to my attention today, and I thank him a great deal for that. Because I was stuck between, I want to get to 300 sales in a day. Well, first of all, and don't you think I got to hit 100? Like he refreshed in my mind back to the basics. I think the basics of reselling is important. It's the foundation of everything, right? Like scaling slow, finding items that will actually sell, and not don't pick a target number and just start listing everything. I've done that boo-boo too before. It makes your store look kind of bad. Okay, so you have to use your brain and use a pad of paper. Please use a pad of paper. This is 99 cents at Walmart. I think I paid 99 cents for it. Maybe it was the dollar store or something like that. But get a pad of paper, write down, be honest with yourself. Okay, I'm only doing $1,600 a month right now. Whatever your number is, I'm just shooting one out. I want to get to $2,000 a month. Okay? During getting the $1,600 a month, I'm kind of inconsistent. We'll just say that. Just say, right. I use myself for example. I'm inconsistent. I miss the weekends. I list Monday through Friday, but the weekends I don't do shit. So a good way to get to $2,000 is then add another day. Add another day of listing. Right? That's going to get you closer to the $2,000 from $1,600 if you add another day. And then if you start increasing there, add another day, right? Do a little bit more work Monday through Saturday. put some items in your draft bank and then release them on Sunday. That way you have something going up 7 days a week. That will definitely increase your 1,600 to $2,000, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to list more items. Maybe you just have to be a little more consistent, right? The consistency, it wins the race too in reselling. You don't want to work the weekend, so just work harder Monday through Friday, right? I'm good with working 7 days a week. I don't know. Sometimes it weighs on me, but I like to work, man. I don't know. I don't know why people are so anti-work. I think I'm doing something productive. I feel good when I'm doing it. Not every day it feels good. But, if I feel like I'm not doing anything productive, I start guilt shaming myself and all kinds of stuff. It's not healthy for me. I'm a busybody. So think little. Right? I'm not telling you, dream big. Dream big. I'm dreaming about my 30 by 60 pole barn with a balcony up top. Maybe 6 listing stations. That would be, that'd be something great. I'd feel good about that, right? Okay, but you got to think realistic too, right? Like, okay, that's the big picture. How much is that going to actually cost me to be able to do that? You got to think about that number. Okay, say it cost $1 million, right? Well, first of all, I got to come up with a loan to be able to do that, right? How am I going to be able to do that? Okay, well, my credit sucks. So then I have to build up my credit to be, you got to break shit down. If you want to get to $100,000 in sales in a year and you haven't got over 20, well, let's try 25 first, right? Let's try some small improvements. I swear to God, it's the little stuff that we all don't, that it's the simplest stuff that makes your growth possible. That's what it is, right? It's writing a plan down, having a plan. How are you going to get to the 10K a month? How are you going to get to the 5K a month? Okay, well, I've got to 1,000 a month, so add a couple more items. If you're getting that amount of sales, or if you're missing some days, don't miss them days. Work a little harder on the days that you already got planned for working, and throw a couple items in your draft bank. That'll help. All right, it's your boy flippinstoop. I'm going to wrap this up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you got something from this, subscribe to the channel. Please share the content. Please share the content. Off topic, but do you have a suggestion to build credit if I don't have any? Credit unions, if you get into the right credit union, you can establish credit. You establish credit off your own money, though, right? Like, you go in there, they will, they're not giving you a loan. You're going to give them $500. You're gonna basically give them $500, $200, $250, or whatever it is. Then they're going to give you a credit card to use, and then you're going to pay that back, right? My bank is a credit union. Yeah, so go about that. Go ask them about the credit building policy. Most credit unions have that, where maybe you give them $500, so they give you a credit card. You use that $500, right, and you pay that off, or you use $200 of it, whatever it is, and you pay that off. So you're giving them $500, but you're actually using $1,000. It sounds crazy. It sounds batshit crazy, but it actually does start building you credit. So that's a good area to do it. I don't know any other, I don't know. If you can't get a credit card now, that's a great way to do it. Go talk to your credit union. I hope something like this, I hope that helps you, Corey. If it did, let me know. My credit union wanted to do that with me, and I'm like, I didn't want to do it, but I'm really thinking on it now, because I think using other people's money to make money is a good idea, as long as you understand the APR and you understand the interest rates, right? So you got to understand all that to use other people's money to make money. All right, it's your boy flippinstoop. You got something from this, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the channel. Please share the channel. Thank you, Corey, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody else. And from disaster today, man, that was a disaster. I do not like the floods, but it's a beautiful day. It was 72 degrees here in Michigan. I love it. Keep the weather coming. Keep the weather coming. Let the rain go away. You guys have a rockin' rad day. It's your boy flippinstoop.